Hi everybody, thank you for joining me here on Hill Country Network. We are out here today at the park along the river to talk about disc golf. What is that, you say? You ever wondered what these things are? Well, this is a basket that catches the frisbees, or the disc that are thrown. And they're also played like golf. So each hole, or basket, or whatever it's called, which we have a guy that's going to explain all this, each one has a par on it, like par 3, so that means you get 3 chances and you keep up with it just like you do regular golf. So that is very interesting. So we're here today to find out about New Albany's Park Along the River Disc Golf Course. So with me I have Doc Lansdell, and he is going to be explaining this game to us that I don't know what it is, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, what do you call these?
Baskets and targets.
Okay. Tell us about it.
Different manufacturers make different styles, but they're all relatively similar. Some use different styles of chains, different numbers of chains, things like that, but they're all relatively close to similar. The first hole will be just across the creek here. Hard to see, but it will be just over here.
So where do you start from?
There will be a tee pad there and a tee sign that kind of gives you the breakdown of each hole. The footages, maybe who sponsored the hole, par for that hole, things like that.
Okay, cool. What's this one here for?
This is a practice basket. Most courses will have, or some courses will have a basket off to the side before the course actually starts to allow people to warm up before a round or before a tournament and things like that. Usually at the start of a course or at the start of each hole, you'll have some sort of sign that will give you a preview of what to expect from that hole. The information on the sign usually would be the hole number, the footage for each hole, the par for the hole, and maybe the sponsorship. Maybe if somebody kicked in a few dollars to sponsor the sign or help pay for the sign to contribute to the course. This is hole 1 for this course. The footage is 296 feet and it's a par 3, sponsored by the New Albany Sign Company.
That's okay. So now you're going to get your equipment.
Yes, ma'am. For this particular hole, I'm going to throw a approach disc. It's a low speed, very slow moving style disc, more for control than for distance.
Around the tree?
I did. In disc golf, we use markers as they do in ball golf, just with a slightly different purpose. They're used to mark balls in golf. However, they don't always use them to mark. In disc golf, a lot of golfers will use them to mark their disc and then play from that lie to mark your lie for your next shot. The scoring process for disc golf is very similar to traditional golf. Each hole is set up with a par in mind based off of distance or the particular challenge of that hole. This particular hole is a par 3, it's 296 feet, and I was able to finish the hole in 2 shots, which would allow me to have the birdie. Whereas if I had finished in 3, it would have been a par. 1 over 3, taking a 4 would be a bogey, and so forth and so on. Being able to hole out in 1 would be an ace, which is something that most golfers love to get, and it's quite the celebration when it happens. each hole will have some level of difficulty and obstacles to go around, whether it's a tree, or it could be a sidewalk, could be OB, it could be a lake as a water hazard, or it can even be a Mando situation, which is a mandatory play to one side or the other for a safety aspect. If you're trying to stay away from air shots going into a heavily populated area, you put up a Mando, forcing folks to throw a different route so that way they eliminate throwing into a highly populated area.
And where is this one at now?
This one is just about dead straight ahead.
Oh, I see.
You can see it there.
Yeah, let me. Okay, this is hole number 3, and Doc's going to give us another example. Where's this basket at, Doc?
It is straight this way. If you come this way, you should be able to see it straight down there. And that is it right there out in the open.
Well, it's not too bad, huh?
It's not.
At least you don't have to whoop around some trees.
Well, I'm gonna try to go through the middle, and if that doesn't work, I'll try to go through the trees.
Okay. So you do not have to stand on the pad.
You have to finish on the pad. I can start anywhere, but as long as when I finish my throw, I'm on the concrete supported in some way. Even if I wanted to stand this way, as long as when I finish throwing, that foot is off the ground, I'm supported by the T-pad. I'm gonna try one through the trees.
Okay. Is ricocheting allowed?
Yes, ma'am.
In basketball, it's all about the board, you know.
By any means necessary. There's a lot of different ways you can throw one of these. Probably the most traditional would be a backhand, the way I've been throwing it. A lot of people also throw as a forehand, or a flick as they call it, where they throw it this way. On another hole I can demonstrate that probably a little better than this one.
What was that when you did like from low?
That's a putting stroke. It's a little bit different. More than a throw, it's more of a toss. It's a very finessed type shot for more accuracy than distance. My normal putting stroke is a low amount of spin and more of a forward motion, which allows the disc to just kind of float more through the air. That's my preferred putting style. There are all types out there. It's more personal than any other. There's no right way or wrong way to do it. Whatever works best for you and is easiest. I also have a jump putting method, which is very similar to my normal putt. It just allows me to cover more distance with that controlled shot to try to finish out.
Like when you have tournaments, do you have a lot of people that aren't golfers?
I don't know that I don't really know how many follow that aren't golfers, but it's a lot bigger community than most people give it credit for. Our local club in Tupelo that's just down the road from here, we have nearly 100 people in that club that helps maintain the courses, run events, and participates locally and things like that. So, and they also, you know, travel out and branch out to the other local communities here and just outside Tupelo when they have events and things of that nature.
So we've skipped out to hole 11 to do an open air one. 420 feet. What's the furthest hole you've ever thrown to, Doc?
I've played holes that are over 1,000 feet with OB Lake on one side and an OB Road on the other, having to carry a lot of distance and accuracy at the same shot. without taking penalty strokes.
How many pars would that be?
That particular hole's a par 5. This one, even though it is 420, would typically still play as a par 3. There's no trouble it's relatively fairly open now. If you look off in the distance, there's a walking track that kind of runs through. You could possibly make it a little more challenging, making it play similar to an island hole where you have to cross over the walking path to be in bounds. And if you fall short or you don't make it across, it would be like playing as a water hazard or things like that.
Now tell me, are the different colors different weights?
There's actually a lot of different classifications in disc. We'll go through some of these. If you can tell by the profile of how thin it is, and how wide the rim is, here's a good indication here and here. This would be a distance driver for trying to just maximize the amount of distance you can get off the tee box. Whereas the step down from there would be a fairway driver, which has still has that thin profile of the edge, but the rim is slightly less wide. It's a lot more comfortable in the hand. It also allows for a lot more control when throwing those shots, for shaping shots through the woods or out the open. And then you have mid-ranges, which have a lot wider profile on them, and a lot less width in the rim. They tend to be a lot glidier and a lot straighter flying. You do have some that are more overstable, which give it that hard finish, and some that turn the other direction if so. And then you have putters, and they come in a lot of different you have putters that come in a lot of different profiles. You have one that's more like your traditional Frisbee. This one has a small bead on the bottom here, whereas this one does not have a bead on it. Generally, beads give it a little bit more stability for winds and things like that. So you can get a good view versus, of how they look there. You have your distance drivers here on the far left, and then you have your putter on the far right here. So typically, just because it says it's a distance driver doesn't always mean that it goes the furthest, but it does have the most potential to go further. There are a lot of people that are better than I am that throw much further than I do, and they throw mid-ranges and putters as almost as far as I can throw my distance drivers. So as you play through the course, 11 is the first hole that kind of comes out into the open. The front 9 will kind of zigzag back and forth through the trees. 11 is the first one that opens up and moves this way to the longer, more open style holes, and it plays all the way down to the highway and then plays back, essentially just down one side and then back down the other. Hole 18's tee pad is just over here by the river here, and the basket plays to the trees just behind us here. I want to say that's about a 280-foot shot. Most people will just kind of throw it out straight and let it finish back in.
So they go easy on you at the end.
They do, finally, because the longer, tougher holes are on the other side of the creek there. Tupelo hosted the Southern National Pro Championship and the Southern National Amateur Championship in town at the same weekend. We had several hundred people come in just for that event on both sides. We ran it as 2 different tournaments, and we had multiple pools for the different divisions that played. We used, I believe it was either 5 or 6 different courses in Tupelo and just outside Tupelo to host all that.
So what is the biggest tournament that you've ever heard about?
This past year, I had the luxury and the privilege of going to Emporia, Kansas to play in the Glass Blown Open, and to date, that is the largest disc golf event that they've ever had, with right at 1,600 players.
Wow.
From, I believe it was eight or nine different countries from all over. We had there were folks from Germany, Sweden, the UK. I mean, it's, worldwide folks coming to play. It was the largest event, and I mean, it was a week-long disc golf festival, more so than just, a tournament.
Okay, Doc, so tell us a little bit about the course at the Trace.
At the Natchez Trace State Park in Pontotoc, Mississippi, they have two courses. The original course there is called Old Warrior Run or Warrior Run. It is a shorter technical course that plays through the woods and around one of the lakes out there. It's not a long course, it's more technical because of the play through the woods and things like that. They also have another course that everyone calls Trace Gold. It is a championship level course if I've ever seen one.
So, I mean, it's like water hazards. What happens if your disc goes in the water?
You play it as an out of bounds. If it goes in the water, you take a penalty stroke and you get to come back inbounds from there, or there'll be a drop zone set up there close that you'll play from. Sometimes you can get them back, sometimes you can't. So for any new players, if you buy a disc to play with, I recommend putting your name and phone number in them. That way, if you lose it and someone finds it, they can try to return it. A lot of avid golfers will try to return them when they find them. There is a group from Tupelo they're really good about getting in the lakes and swimming for discs and trying to return them, calling people. I've even known folks that have mailed them out of state to people to return them. So, like I said earlier, it's a very, even though it's growing in popularity, it still has that small family atmosphere where, everybody's willing to help and they're there for their other players. So.
So Doc's wife is here with us. Hello.
Hey, my name is Nikki.
Hi, Nikki. So, do you play disc golf also?
I do. I don't play in the tournaments with him, but I do play with him just for fun.
Okay. So you know a lot about disc golf also?
I do, just from watching him and going to tournaments with him and just learning what I can about it.
And what's your favorite course you've played?
I would say Trace.
Ah, that is a pretty place.
It is. It's beautiful out there.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And you were talking about Sweden earlier that has a connection to the disc golf.
Yes, ma'am. In Sweden, there's a manufacturer that is stationed there called Latitude 64, and they are kind of in the same family with two other companies, Dynamic Disc and Westside Discs. Westside Disc is the American front for what is known as the Trilogy, which is the three brands combined. And then Westside Disc was originally from Finland. Earlier this year, Westside Disc was purchased by Dynamic Disc and Latitude 64. So now they partnership for that. They're all still produced in Sweden, which is kind of the motherland for the Trilogy brands.
Going back on camera.
For anyone wanting to get into disc golf, it's very easy. Facebook is a great way. Social media is a fantastic way to get out there. There are a lot of different Facebook pages or social media pages, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. New Albany has a small group of people that will play out here. Tupelo and the South Haven New Albany kind of falls in between them. They have large clubs, folks that love and love the sport. Some travel far off to play and some just play for fun around locally. Usually anywhere there's a local pro or higher caliber that would love the time and the opportunity to try to show what they know to younger players, beginners, and things like that. It's more like a family. Anytime you need, something, usually in a disc golf community, there's somebody there ready to lend a hand or to help. Safety is always a big thing. If you're going to get into disc golf, you do want to be mindful. You don't want to throw disc at people. They are hard and they do hurt. Also, have fun. That's the biggest thing, is to have fun, enjoy yourself, ask lots of questions. That's the only way you're going to learn. If you need any more pointers than that, search Star Par Disc Golf. It's a local disc golf store that has lots of people that are in and out, and lots of people there that are willing to show disc golf to new people or to help golfers that are already there improve their game, whether it's putting or driving or whatever. It's open to anybody, any skill level, any age, even on a professional level. They have a 60 and 70 year age group for the older folks that like to still get out and play. It's not restricted by age or gender or skill level.
Thank you for joining us here today, and we are looking forward to seeing people out here.
Absolutely.
Maybe this will help generate some interest for the disc golf here in New Albany.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
And we hope you will come back and join us next time here on From the Heart, as we bring more ideas from the area to you, and we speak with interesting people, because we tell stories of life, because life is interesting. Bye for now.